We're going to get this party started. So what is contacting and inviting? The essence of contacting and inviting is this, okay? It's about touching contacts. It's not about presenting. If there's nothing else you take away from the presentation today, if you take that point away, I will feel I have been successful in communicating with you. Here's what amateurs do. They reach out to somebody, the warm market, the friends and family, the people that they want to go out and touch, and they contact them. They say, "Hey, I'm involved in this new business, and I'd like you to look at it." And the person says, "Okay." And the minute that they get a little bit of a nibble from the other side, and the other side doesn't shut them down, they just blah all over them. They start presenting. They start telling them about how the widget works, and it's great. You're going to love it. Just blah, 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 blah. You're dead before you start. If you do that, you're dead before you start. The objective of contacting and inviting is to get them to a presentation where the presentation can do a proper presentation. You see, if you're reaching out and touching someone, here's a truism. You're interrupting them. If you're interrupting them, how on earth are you going to be able to present adequately? Because it's an interruption. You're asking them to not only stop what they're doing, but pay attention to what you're presenting. It doesn't work well. You might have that rare occasion where the person says, "Hey, you just called me and I'm just sitting here waiting for something to look at." Good luck with that. It just doesn't work all that well. So prospecting, contacting, and inviting is not presentation. It is not presentation. It is the objective of having a contact is you want to get them into a presentation so they can see the whole thing. Okay, that's the real key here. In other words, you don't want to start presenting to them. You want to have them take a look at what you have, but do it in a frame where they're going to have the opportunity to really see the whole thing properly. In other words, there's an axiom that I'm fond of, and this is one of those ones I need to write down for my friend Clint because he wants a document on this stuff. And here's one of them. If you can't show them everything, don't show them anything. Okay. If you can't show them everything, don't show them anything. Okay. That's a real important thing, because when you use the approach I'm about to show you, the first thing they're going to say is, "What is it? What is it? Tell me more." Right. And you got to get good at answering that. Right. You've got to really get good at answering that. And if you do this, also duplication will happen immediately, because this is empowering somebody with an approach that allows them to right away duplicate. If you're good at contacting and inviting and you use these approaches, can you put people in front of a presentation like Antoine in the evening if you happen to be in North America? Yeah. Is Antoine really good at presenting? Yes. Put him in front of Clint. Is he really good at presenting? Yes. Okay. So you don't have to be the presenter. You have to be the person that invites people to, your guests, to put in front of the presenter. It's a really important distinction. When you're making the approach, again, don't confuse making the approach with presentation. They are different and you want to separate them. What's an exposure? This is a word I use to describe, well, somebody will say, "Hey, I can't make the webinar." Okay, cool. How about take a look at this video and I'll get back to you. When would you have an opportunity to look at this video? Well, I think around 4 o'clock. Terrific. I'm going to send you the link. I'll call you back at 5. Bam, get off the call. Now, is that a good exposure? Yes. Can they do with others what you just did with them? Yes. Passes the duplication test, right? These are things that as you get into this whole arena, you'll learn you want to be brief on contacting and inviting. If you start selling a lot, you're not contacting and inviting, you're presenting. Okay. Be really careful to make that distinction. What's the right tool? I don't know. They all work. In other words, is a webinar for some the one that's going to get it done? Yep. Is a video for some the thing that's going to get it done? Yep. Is a funnel for some the thing that's going to get it done? Yep. If we ask the 8 or so people that are here, what was the thing that turned the corner for you in the business you're in now? We get 8 different answers. Here's an axiom that is a really important one also. You can't say the wrong thing to the right person. You can't say the right thing to the wrong person. Okay. So what do you need to do? Just make more contacts. Make more contacts. Make more contacts. How many exposures? Some people say 6, 8. So having the expectation level that they're going to come and to a webinar and sign up, maybe, but it's a pretty tall order. Most of the time, like in real estate, it's 6 to 8 minimum. Okay. And then also always book a meeting from a meeting. That's the acronym here, BAM FAM. Book a meeting from a meeting. In other words, if you have they come to a webinar, always try to have the next thing on the agenda lined up so they can come and see that and attend that. Know what that is and make sure to get them in front of that information. Okay. Here's an example of sorting. Okay. That's one that works for a lot of people. This is kind of fun. Here's the objective among our participants here in our Find the Ketchup Lover contest. Okay. Now, on table number 1, we have a number of participants. And on table number 2, we have a number of participants. And table number 1 and number 2 are competing with one another. Okay. Your objective you're in table number 1, and one of your competitors is on table number 2 to determine how many people at their table like ketchup. Okay, that's the objective. Now, here's what a lot of people do in networking. If I told you that's it, find the ketchup lovers, ready, go. Are you going to go to around the table and somebody says, I like ketchup, and they go, well, why do you like ketchup? But, I don't, or the person says, I like mustard. And you start convincing them that ketchup is a better condiment. Maybe move on. They like mustard. Terrific. They're a mustard lover. Thanks for playing. Next, and go around the table. Do you like ketchup? You do. Okay, great. Super. There's one. Okay. Do you like ketchup? I like relish. Terrific. No, okay, no ketchup. Go around quickly. Make a lot of contacts versus trying to persuade mustard lovers that ketchup is a better condiment. Okay. That's what a lot of people do. We're in the sorting business here, not the convincing business. Okay. It's a very, very important thing. If you want to get the prize money, get around the table quickly. How do you do that? You get good at hearing no. In other words, if they say, I'm a mustard lover, thank you. I sure appreciate knowing that. Thanks very much. I'll chat with you later. Bam, on to the next one. Okay. And this is an important thing for everybody to remember, and I'm fond of this phrase, ignorance on fire is better than knowledge on ice. A lot of people will approach their businesses, I've got to know everything about how to do this business before I start. Okay, well, you don't. And if you're in networking, what's most important to do is to get started and to move rapidly so that you have an opportunity to reach a lot of people. The ones that it's going to resonate with, you'll know right away. The ones it's not, thanks for playing. We're still friends. If you're doing this properly, that's a key axiom. Okay. They still will be friends. So here's the ground rules. People buy from whom they know, they like, and they trust. The goal is to get them to take a look. It's important to maintain posture, be in a hurry, clear the time, and never anything unless you can get everything. In other words, never present anything unless you can present everything. Okay. Really, really critical. You don't want to be in presentation mode when you're contacting and inviting. Do you touch them with the business or with the product? This is very highly company specific, and I've done both. Both work. You have to define this for yourself. Do you want to be attracting people for the product? Do you want to attract people for the business? Maybe you have the approach where it's a type of company that intrigues them, and then they come to the presentation and they self-identify as one or the other or both. Cool. Doesn't matter. Okay. What matters is that you're making the contacts. Don't get too hung up on this. In other words, here's the 5 steps. I've got something to say it well, set the appointment, say goodbye, make another call. Bam, 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 bam. You're a ketchup lover? Great. Okay. Boom. On to the next. Okay. It's very, very important to do that. Here are I've got to get this slide reformatted. Here are my 3 allies. This is what I call them. My 3 allies. And I learned this literally 26 years ago and really, really got it hammered home 23 years ago. And the plaques that I've got back there, which I call my ego wall, are largely because of this originating with a fellow named Eric Worre and his business partner, Jeff Olson. And then also the top income earner in prepaid legal. I want to give him credit. God rest his soul, Dave Savula. He was an absolute beast, football coach, knew how to teach the basics. This is the basics. Okay. This is it. Ready? I've got something I'd like to show you. Takes about, insert the time, 45 minutes. If your presentation takes 45 minutes, it takes 30 minutes, put in 30 minutes. If it takes 60 minutes, put in 60 minutes. It takes about X time, 45 minutes. You may or may not be interested. That simple little silly script you can get in any order. You can't foul it up. That's what makes it so powerful for network marketing. It's highly duplicable. Anybody can embrace that right away, can't they? They don't have to be the presenter. Notice there's nothing in there about the product. Okay. There's nothing in there about the business. I've got something I'd like to show you. Takes about 45 minutes and you may or may not be interested. It's so simple, people miss it. So simple, people miss it. I've got something that takes about 15 minutes. I'd really like to have you take a look at it and you may or may not be interested. You can get them in any order. Okay. It doesn't matter. The order doesn't matter. You may or may not be interested. I've got something to show you. It takes about 45 minutes. Again, any order. The central point is that you want to pique their interest and you want to get them to say, to engage. Notice on the first one that I did here, incorporate your why if you can. Here's how you do that. Let's say that I am marketing a product, which I tend to like, just my own personal, preference. And this is certainly, I'm drinking a nutritional product, by the way. Maybe I should start with this. This is a product my wife and I have been involved in for over a decade, and we love the company, but it's just not my cup of tea, the nutrition thing, just personal preference. But I like it and I drink it every day. What I might do with this, if I'm marketing like the financial product that I mentioned, is incorporating one's why is to say, let's say that Clint is my prospect. And Clint, are you able to come on mic with me here for a minute?
Absolutely.
Terrific. Can we do a quick role play?
Sure.
Okay. So here's how I might do this process with my prospect, Clint. Okay. Hey, Clint, Robert,
what's up?
Dude, I have got something I really want to have you take a look at. I have figured out a way. I know you, like me, are wanting to have more retirement income. Both of us are 63 years old and wishing that retirement account is bigger. I've figured out a way that I'm so excited about that is going to enable me to do that. And I thought it might work for you too.
Okay.
And there's a presentation tomorrow at 3 p.m. Are you open at 3 p.m. tomorrow?
Yeah, I might be. What is it, Robert?
I really want to show you this, right? And hold tight on that question just a minute. It takes about 45 minutes. So if you're able to do that tomorrow, that would be terrific. And most importantly, Clint, I don't know if this is going to work for you or not, but I really want you to see it. It may or may not be for you. I don't know, but I really want you to see it the way I've seen it, which is to see it properly. It involves crypto and it involves trading of crypto, but I don't want to spoil the movie for you. I couldn't begin to explain it adequately. I'm new. Hang a lantern now, out of context a minute here, guys.
Yeah.
Hang a lantern on that. Your newness actually is your ally.
Absolutely.
Because I see, then it gives me an excuse to say, I don't want to tell you. I can't tell you. I want to do it right. The guys on the webinar are going to do it right that I'm working with. Use your newness to your advantage. You understand? In other words, if you do that, then you get around this whole, well, tell me about it, man. Come on, chop. Give me all the information. You're killing yourself if you do that. That's the amateur mistake, is to jump at that and then go, oh, It's trading. Well, they have this trader that trades on your behalf via an API key, and it goes into your account, and then it goes up and down, and it's going to make lots of profit. You go, blah, 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 blah. You're going to kill yourself if you do that. Don't do it. That's an amateur mistake. The professional has poise. The professional has poise. Posture up. If he starts getting a little tough with me, if I know him well, which this kind of call, here we have a good rapport, I'm going to say, dude, do I have enough credibility to have you look at 45 minutes tomorrow? Come on, man. This is Robert calling you. See, now, if I've incorporated my why also, and it's a powerful why, which I think that one is for me, and I know it is for Clint, he's probably not going to beat me up a lot if we're on the same page and I know his why and it's similar to mine. And I say, look, that thing we were talking about it the other day, I think I might have found it. Now, if you don't know their why, keep it more broad, but what you want to do, they want to know you're calling them for an agenda. Get to it right away. I've got something I want to show you. It's about crypto trading. I'm excited about it. Be ready for exactly what he did. Tell them how long it's going to take for them to see it. Clear the time. Did you hear me do that at 3 p.m. tomorrow? Are you free? Because if he's not, I want to get off the call, or I want to get some other thing to show him that I can get a commitment that he's going to take a look at. I do not want to explain it. Do not present. If you present, you're shooting yourself in the foot. You just don't want to do it.
Question.
Yes.
Okay. So, first of all, this is so ridiculously simple, and I got to just start using it constantly. And I'm going to be incorporating this into Skype and Facebook private message, because I use the heck out of that.
Yeah.
And in fact, I'm going to start exploring, and if it's something that you can help us with or give input on, I'm going to start meeting with my team maybe a half an hour before the webinars and do some inviting as a group. Just kind of get around, get a cup of coffee. Let's do some inviting. Now, in the three allies, I've got something to show you. I believe, based on my audience that I know, I need to give them a short what it is, not just because everybody I know is in network marketing. Mm-hmm. But I'm asking you, I assume it's okay to incorporate within the why a little bit of the what, but then still stay away from presenting. I've got something that will help you build your crypto portfolio and can even provide you with some crypto income. Highly qualified program.
I'm getting nervous already.
Okay.
I'm getting nervous because if you're getting into all that, that is opening up the Pandora's box for they're going to get into all that. Okay. Stay away from it. Stay away from it. If I just broadly go, I've got something to show you. What are they going to always do? They're going to do this right here. They always are, every time, because that means you've got somebody that's going, okay, I'm interested enough to say, what is it? Then I don't do that until they ask me, what is it? Because what I don't want to get into, if I serve it up, then it's giving permission for the onslaught to happen.
Right.
Okay. And I want to avoid that at all costs. What I want to do instead is I go through, I got something to show you. It takes about 45 minutes. You free tomorrow at 3? You are? Okay, great. I figured out a way that I can help improve my retirement account. I know that's important to you as well. And it may or may not be for you. They're going to come back with.
I'm sorry.
What are they going to say? What is it? Right?
Yeah. What is it? Yep.
These are some ways that you may answer that. I figured out a way to improve my retirement account. I've got something that is just such a powerful story about how this improved my own asset on the why. A business story. I've enrolled some affiliates. And here's the thing though, Clint, it's really important because you want to shut that whole thing down. You want to remember, I started the call with, I'm in a hurry. Did you hear that up front? Be in a hurry. Being in a hurry is your friend. Hey, I thought of you. I was just running out the door, but I got this thing I've just got involved with. I found out a way that I think I can really, really dramatically improve my retirement account. I know that's important to you as well. I'd really like to have you take a look at this thing I've gotten involved with. And it's tomorrow at 3 p.m. Are you free?
Right. Yeah.
Takes about 45 minutes. May or may not be for you. Okay. If I can do that and keep it succinct, that is such a powerful thing because I'm getting the commitment that they're going to show up for that presentation. Okay. And when they say, what is it? It's about crypto trading, but here's the thing. I really want to just emphasize this so much. I don't want to spoil the movie for you. You're in a hurry right now, and so am I. I got to get out of here. I couldn't begin to explain it adequately right now. Excuse me. So I really want you to see it properly, the way I saw it. I don't want to spoil the movie. Okay. That it's so important to get off the call and not hurt your odds by trying to explain too much on a contacting and inviting call. Because if you do that, your power actually is diminishing. You want to keep it very succinct, very to the point, very businesslike. I thought of you, and if you can incorporate your why, I figured out a way that I can retire my wife and she won't have to work. People are just not going to beat you up when you do that. They're just not most of the time. So having something that ties in the why is critical. I don't want to spoil the movie. I'm going to add that to I use that one a lot.
Can I throw in a real life situation yesterday?
Sure, certainly.
I was at my brother's farm and asked him how things are going, blah, 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 blah. And I told him I had to go to my insurance agent to pay my bill, but I couldn't find my insurance agent because they've moved. And he says, yeah, well, we moved our stuff. And he says, I got to do something with my IRA. I says, would it happen to be a Roth IRA? And he said, yes. I said, well, have you any clue what you're going to do with it? And he said, no, I don't have a clue what to do. I stuck my little 2 cents in. And I says, well, I found something that I've discovered that would be really good for your Roth IRA. Then I went one step too far. He said, what is it? And I says, well, it's investing in crypto. Oh my God, the red flag went up. So you know what I did? I walked away. I didn't try to convince him.
Yep.
I walked away. I sorted him for the first time.
Well, here's one of the things, guys, in this process. When you're doing this, when you see these 3 phrases here, I've got something I'd like to show you. It takes about 45 minutes. You may or may not be interested. Which is the most important phrase on there? Crickets.
Come on, bottom guys. One.
Which one?
The bottom one.
The bottom one. I agree. You may or may not be interested. You see, if we say that every time, then it's okay for them to say no. That, by the way, is why they come, because they know it's okay to say no. You're giving them permission to not have to worry about you're going to do arm twisting. Because we're not. You don't really want to do that. You just want to find the ketchup lovers. And if they're a mustard lover, don't be twisting the mustard lover's arm. Okay, don't. That's, again, amateurville. What you want to do is get them to show up. Okay, so if you say, look, I don't know if it's for you or not, there's a variety of ways to serve that up. This is takeaway psychology. Subtly, you're saying, I don't need you. It's a powerful thing psychologically because they're hearing, what are they hearing? They're hearing posture. Okay. That's what this slide is about. What is it? It's big, man.
And that's where I failed yesterday. I didn't give them a nice way to get out of the conversation.
Yeah. It's absolutely not optional. You got to always do that.
I hit him in the head with a hammer.
Right. So got something to show you. It may or may not be for you. By the way, it's tomorrow at 3 p.m. and it takes about 45 minutes. They need to know how much time, what is it? They're going to always ask that. Be prepared for what is it? And then also the length, so the length of time and the most important phrase, never, ever, ever leave this one out. It may or may not be for you. You see, when you say that, you have to have posture to say that, don't you? You have to have some of the, hey, it's cool if it's not for you. You're a ketchup. Oh, you are a ketchup lover. Cool. Those mustard lovers, you don't want to be doing any arm twisting. It's not for them. Cool. But if you give them permission to say no, here's what happens psychologically. They come to the presentation, it lowers their guard. If you lower their guard, are they more likely to buy? Yes, because they're looking at it objectively. If they come like this and they're ready for battle, not so much. So you got to have that phraseology in there to get them with the right frame to say, hey, if this isn't for you, we're still friends. It's fine if it doesn't work for you. Say that, because then they go, okay, so John said it's cool for me to show up and say no. Yes. And accept if they say no. Don't try to twist their arm. We're not really in that business. We're in the sorting business, not the convincing business. If they see it like you saw it, they're going to join. If they don't, again, you can't say the wrong thing to the right person or the right thing to the wrong person. There's another one I've got to write down for Clint. Right person, wrong person. We're getting little notes here for a document that will be coming out with some of these phraseologies that I've just done and incorporated from years and years and years of doing this.
The fun part with that, Robert, is that I've been in sales so long. We were talking about this the other day. All these little catchphrases that are in our heads, but for people that are kind of new to this,
right?
It's like almost having a cheat sheet, guys, especially if you're on the phone or maybe in a Facebook and someone says, well, what is it? Tell me about it. Well, you just look over at your sheet. You go, well, it's really cool, but I don't want to ruin the movie. Just having those little, I call them tools in the toolbox that you can reach into. And the beauty is you're not arguing with anybody.
See, here's one of the things also that's so important, and this is a subtlety of networking. People are afraid of being new, right? If, I'm in the real estate business and I'm a very competent commercial broker, and I want to prove to you how profoundly competent I am. They're scared to death of being new and not knowing something. They don't want to come into something and be the incompetent person, right? That's scary stuff, especially for men. I think for everybody, I scratched that last from the record, but I want to be that guy that's competent. So if you tell me I've got to come in and admit I'm new, oh no, I'm nervous. I'm not competent. But be competent at the simple part of saying you're new. Here's why you want to do that. It's duplicable. You see, if I'm brand new and Clint enrolls me and I don't know squat about the nutrition company that Clint's in or the, crypto trading business that Clint's in, I don't know anything. But Clint teaches me this script and I can go out and reach out to people and simply go, look, I just got involved in this new thing. In fact, I am a day old, dude. Does that give me an excuse to not explain it? Yes, I can't explain it if my life depended on it. That's why I need you to come and see the presentation that Clint's doing tomorrow at 3 p.m. He's good. I'm not.
Yeah. Okay? Something else that's really cool.
No. Let me. I need to finish this train of thought, please. So when you're new, hang a lantern on it. It is your friend. Okay. It is your friend. It is your ally also. In other words, when you're coming into a business, if you're making that contact, you go, look, I just found this thing and I'm so excited about it. So new. I've enrolled, but I'm still kicking the tires, frankly. And I'd like you to come and kick them with me. What is it? Dude, it's trading, but I don't want to ruin it. I don't want to make it so you can't understand it. And I'm so new that I probably would. I want you to see it properly. And it takes about 45 minutes. Are you clear tomorrow at 3 p.m.? You are? Okay, great. It's about 45 minutes. And here's the bottom line. It may or may not be for you. You may not see what I see here. Cool. We're still friends, but I want you to see it. Fair enough? They'll say, okay. Most of the time, confirm, get off the call. Call, mission accomplished. Okay. The more you talk, the worse it gets. Brevity is your friend. New is your friend. Okay. Really, really important to grab those concepts, because if you do that properly, and posture is an important thing. What does posture mean? See, if Clint gets in, well, come on, man, tell me more. Come on. I'm going to say, Clint, time out, buddy. Do I have enough cred with you to have you invest 45 minutes tomorrow at 3? Now that sounds a little tough, but sometimes, if you've got a good connect with somebody, they're strong and you have that kind of conversation with them, they appreciate it and they respect it. And if you're able to do that, it also, they'll show up because they go, okay, he must mean it. He must really have, he's convicted about this thing. Let's see, moving right along. Warm market is always better. Yes, but they can be the toughest. They know you failed at the lemonade stand and they'll never let you forget it.
Quick follow-up, Robert. Two things. One, is it possible within the system to allow us to see who's at the webinars? And the reason I ask that is that if you invite someone, it would be nice for people to see they're there and perhaps even say, hi, my friend Mike is here. Mm-hmm. Just a thought. We can talk about that later.
That's really a different off-topic thing with this dialogue.
Right. The other point that I wanted to make here is that one of the other things, especially guys, if you're talking to an experienced marketer and you're trying to kind of reach up to somebody of influence and they're pounding you for the answers, what I've been able to do is I say, look, I want someone that they can present better than I ever could, but I also want you to see it how your prospects will see it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
and then
good.
That all of a sudden they kind of go, oh, all right, that makes sense, because they're already thinking, how am I going to make this happen? And they want to make it as simple as possible. And if all they have to do is send out an email to the people that are already their followers and they like the presentation, bang, you just had huge duplication.
Yeah. The thing with this process also, guys, is there are a lot of the millennials, as an example, they've, what do? They do the phone and the thumbs. They've got very strong thumbs, right? Actually talking to people is the most impactful way to have contacting happen. Talking to people, not texting, not instant message, not email, talking. This approach is about talking to people. In person is even better yet. You're right there. So can you do this stuff that way? You can, but it's not as hard hitting. It just isn't. In other words, somebody says, how do I make money? Get good at this. And then you can deploy it and employ it other places, certainly. A lot of what you're hearing here is psychology. It's the psychology of the process. In other words, something to show you, takes about 45 minutes. You may or may not be interested. That's something somebody brand new can remember to do, can't they? They don't have to do the presentation. They don't have to know about the, zinc folinate steroid that's in the nutritional drink. They're not going to remember that. Something to show you, 45 minutes, may or may not be interested. Now, here's to that point you made about the having somebody look, and getting their perspective. If you're brand new again, which let's say you are, if you're a 5 on your scale of 1 to 10, okay, everybody's always a 5 on their own scale. Let's say I'm a 5 on my own scale, which I am, and Clint is one of those guys who's on my chicken list. He's a big bad networker, and I'm going to call old Clint up and I'm going to say, hey man, it's Robert. And I know he's better at this than I am. He's more powerful than I am. I'm going to call him an 8, okay, on my scale of 5. My 3s and 4s, I've got a lot of influence with, okay? But here's the thing. If you're reaching to your 3s and 4s and they're reaching to their 3s and 4s, all of a sudden you have an army of midgets, okay? If I'm reaching and calling the ones that are more powerful than I am, and I get a few of those, what have I got? I've got an army of giants. Well, that's better, right? In other words, and so here's an approach where you might change this up a little bit and you'd say something like this. And this, by the way, I'm going to show you a book that you can follow up with this to get some of these kinds of scripts because he's brilliant at it. One of the guys I learned from is Eric Worre. I might do something like this. So Clint, if you could come back on and role play with me here a minute. Clint Clark, white courtesy telephone. So let's say I call up Clint and I go, hey, Clint, it's Robert.
Hey, Robert, how are you?
Well, I am pretty darn good. And hey, I was just running out the door and I wanted to run something by you. I know you've got a lot more background in networking than I do, and you've been much more successful. I just found something and I'd love to have you help me evaluate it.
Man,
are you free at 3? Are you free tomorrow at 3?
How long is it going to take? I am really busy. I got 2 projects going, and I'm actually on another Skype right now.
Cool. I understand that. It's 45 minutes and may or may not be for you, but you might know somebody that this would work particularly well for.
Yeah, I've always kind of laughed at that, Robert, because if anybody, it might be for them. I usually have something for them myself. I really appreciate it, but I got to get going here.
Okay. See ya, you jerk.
Come on.
He's a mustard lover. Get rid of him. No, I'm kidding.
You can do better than that.
What the central point is, guys, if I'm selling up, I want to have a process where I appeal to their ego a little bit. In other words, right. He's the big bad dude and I'm looking for him to look over my shoulder. I want to get him psychologically on the same side of the table with me. Okay.
And I didn't mean to be a jerk. I was waiting for you to come back with that.
I did it up front.
Okay.
Yeah. You just didn't play well.
I didn't play nice in the sandbox.
Yes. And you'll have some that don't. It was a good exercise because, I obviously wouldn't say you're a jerk, but the idea is you can keep it fun and you may have that little squeeze ball on your desk when you're making these calls, because some of them can be a little, but guess what? If it were easy, everybody'd do it. If you get good at this, you're going to make way more money, a lot more money, because it gets butts in the seats if you're effective at it. Okay. It's a critically important skill.
I told you I did that yesterday. I went up to someone that is, with John Kinnear that I talked to yesterday, and he would have been a huge find, but he is deep in a project, and that's okay.
Yep.
Some will, some won't. So what? Move on.
Yeah. If you have somebody that is stronger than you on your scale of one, you're a 5 on your own scale. Everybody is. And if I've got an 8 and I approach them, I'm going to say, look, I know you're very good at this process. You've been doing it much longer than I have. I'd really appreciate you taking a look at this project I'm involved with. It takes about 45 minutes to see it. Are you free tomorrow at 3? Clear the time. They say yes. Okay, I'll do it. Terrific. And it may not be for you, but you might know somebody that this would work well for. You see, and usually you'll get, unless they're just that busy that they can't show up. If he does show up, if he likes it, guess who he's thinking of? Himself. And there's the beauty of this. So let's see. Warm market is always better as far as having the possibility. They'll also beat you up more. They will. I mean, that's one of the things that I really like about what we're doing with internet marketing. It's more business-like. Develop skills to approach cold market. The people that we're attracting from the internet stuff, is that cold market? By definition, I think it is, but they quickly become warm market as you start to interact with them and have these skills and get them. Can I do this with somebody that's in Nigeria over text? Yes. Can I have them attend a webinar? Yes. Same thing in India, same thing in Australia, same thing in wherever. The same process works. It's more effective if it's on the phone because they hear the tonality in your voice. They hear the conviction. Okay. If you can do that on the phone, it's better. In person, same thing. Like if you're in person, maybe you're standing in the Starbucks line and there's somebody that's just terrific with people. Okay. Compliment them. Make it a real compliment. You'd be great at what I do. What are they going to come back with? What do you do? Right? Every time they'll do that. Well, I thought you'd never ask. I'm involved in this business and may or may not be for you, but we have a presentation tomorrow at 3. Are you free? Bam, right into the script. And it straight up, it works, guys. And if you get in that mode, you'll have many more people on the webinars. If you have more people on the webinars, you'll make more money. Simple as that. These are also some good questions to talk with people about. These are kind of probing questions to find information out. When you talk to somebody that is that person who's, you'd be really good at what I do, and they go, "Oh, thank you so much. What do you do?" Well, I'm involved with a business that does trading in crypto. Terrific. Or I'm involved in nutritional drink business. If then the next question is, hey, let me help, help me understand. What do you like about your job that you're doing now? And they'll tell you. They clearly are vivacious and so forth. Dakin, that is an interesting that is an interesting screen enhancer. And then the next question, what do you dislike about your job? That one is the gold mine, guys, because they're going to tell you what the boss is a jerk, or I have too many hours to work, or I don't like the hours I work because I can't spend time with my kids. Whatever they answer with this one, that's the hot button that you may be able to provide a solution to. Okay. So these are very, very good questions. If money were no object, what would you be doing? Really good question, right? Because you get them in I'd be fly fishing worldwide. I love fly fishing. I just can't do enough of it because I don't have the resources to go to the places I'd like to go. What if we could change that for you? Right. In other words, these are things that will serve you very well as you develop some of the questions. So are you open to new ways to make money? Do you keep your business options open? I figured out a way to write into your invite. I figured out a way to help my retirement account, Clint. I know you're 63 and I'm 63, and we talked about that the other day. Are you open to, a way to do that? Clint answers.
Absolutely.
Terrific. Are you free tomorrow at 3?
3 o'clock? No, shoot. Can you send me a link?
Actually, it's a live webinar tomorrow. So what I will do, what about at 9 a.m. on Saturday? Are you free then?
That'd be much better.
Terrific. I'll send you a registration link. Takes about 45 minutes. May or may not be for you. I don't know, but we'll discuss that after you get a look at it. Fair enough?
Sounds good.
Okay. Boom. We're done.
Did I play better that time?
You did. You were nicer, you jerk.
Between me and Dakin's upside down things and stuff, it's a heck of a deal.
Yes. See, I've got to do mine now. See, if I've done a good job, this is the one I put on the screen whenever I do a good job. I like putting this one on the screen. Let me get it here. Hang on. Now that I've served that up and it's taking forever to come up. Come on. There we are. Here it is.
Nicely done.
I'll have my fishing background. That will remind me where I'd really like to be. So these are questions that are really good ones. And moving right along here, confirm all the details, write it down, and on to the next call. Okay. Activity. Find those catch-up lovers, track your results, get better at the game. Okay. If you develop, are you going to, John, the most important thing that you did is fail. Because you started, you made the contact, you screwed up. Come back, evaluate, figure out where you did it right, figure out where you didn't, and move on to the next call. Good for you for starting.
I just got a little bruise, but I think it'll heal.
Yeah, and you don't win unless you start. That's the real thing. In other words, the person that takes the action always will win. Here's what I look for in a recruit. Do they have the desire? That's the most important thing. Okay. Do they have that look in the eye that says, I want to get after something? I don't know what, but I want to get after something. Are you coachable? Is next on the list. Because you can have somebody running east to get a sunset, and that's just not going to work. They got to be coachable, got to go the other direction. Okay. Do you have the desire? Are you coachable? And then are you willing to take action? You just passed that test. Okay. Are they willing to take action? That means they're going to hear no on occasion. They're not afraid of no. No is actually your friend if you're in this process. If I told you you make $2,000 if you make 10 calls and each of the calls then is worth $200, guess what? If you hear no, you get $200. If you hear yes, you get $200. You've got to make 10 calls to earn $2,000. Are you going to make the 10 calls? Yes. Even if you hear no 8 times. Because you're on your way to getting the one that says yes. You found the catch-up lover. Okay. These are mind games that people in this business play. I've done this for a long, long time. And, you get good at proceeding and making sure you're doing the activities. So coming back, prospecting is contacting and inviting. It's not the presentation. Don't confuse the two. It is duplicable if you're incorporating your newness into it. That, when we're on a webinar together, guys, And let's say that I have John on the webinar and John has one of his prospects on the webinar. Okay. And Clint, we'll get that whole webinar thing sorted. I just don't want to have that confuse our
no worries at all.
Contacting and inviting stuff here. But John knows his guy Frank is on the webinar. Okay. And Frank knows John's on the webinar. Way to go. John got his contacting and inviting to work for him. I'm going to go to Frank. If we're got all this whole play working the way it should be and all the characters of the play are there, I'm going to say, hey, Frank, what did you like best about what you saw? He's going to say, well, I like this, I like that. And just, whatever he answers, I'm going to say then, let me ask you another question, Frank. Could you do what John has done so far on this webinar? Here's what I'm hoping Frank says.
Love this.
John didn't do anything. He just sat there in front of his tractor. Exactly. Could you do, in other words, all he did was have you come and take a look. Could you do that? You see, here's the brilliance of this. People, when they come to these types of presentations, want to know two things. What's in it for me? WIFM, what's in it for me? The old radio station, WIFM. Number two, can I do it? And if John kept the invite simple and he didn't get into techno babble, he simply said, come and take a look. It takes about 45 minutes and you may or may not be interested in some variation of that John speaks to farmers or whoever it is that's in his sphere of influence. Don't get weird and use Robert's language. John, use your language with the three concepts. Show you, may or may not be interested in the time. If you do that, you keep it simple. It isn't weird. There, if Clint and I have that kind of rapport where I go, hey, yo, dude, it's me. Don't change that. Yo, I got something I got to show you. It takes about 45 minutes. I don't know if it's for you or not, but I wanted to see if you're free tomorrow at 3 p.m.
Don't be drunk by then.
Can you be there?
Whatever the relationship might be, right?
Whatever it is, keep it real. If you start using weird language that they're not used to you using, you're dead. Especially, with warm market. Now, if they don't know you, you can be Al Pacino. But if in fact, you're talking to people that know you, don't incorporate weird, unusual language. Show you, may or may not be interested, 45 minutes. Got it? In other words, those are the key things. And when they say, what is it? It's really cool. That's why I thought of you. It's about trading and crypto. And again, it may or may not be for you, but I'd love to have you take a look. Just see how that just rolls through when you start to do it. The most important phraseology is it may or may not be for you, because that allows them to go, okay, so I can say no. Yeah, but I want you to see it. I don't want you to call me in 6 months and say, how come you didn't tell me? That really, whoa, what did you just say?
Yes.
I don't want you to call me in 6 months and say, how come you didn't tell me? That's why I want you to see it. I can't explain it well. I want you to see it properly. Okay. If you're willing to do that mentally and go through that exercise, that enables them then, could they do what you're doing? And the answer is yes, because it's simple. Is it easy? No, you got to have the get up and go to do it. But that little hook sometimes will go, they'll go, wait a minute. What did you say? You don't want, this thing is going on with or without you or me. That's why I want you to see it. See, that's another one for the list, isn't it?
Yep. Absolutely.
I remember something Mark Yarnell taught me years ago too, especially if you're a new person, is if you're a fly fisherman, go talk to 100 fly fishermen before you start talking to everybody else. Say, hey, how's the fly fishing going? Great. Hey, I found a way to get more time to do my fly fishing. Would that be something that might interest you? You're a new person here, so pick a group that's a niche for you that you can talk about easily, and they're not going to get you off key. If you're if you're a bass guitar player, don't be talking to fly fishermen at the beginning. Don't be talking to other people like farmers. Talk to people who play the bass guitar so that you get comfortable. You get in a rhythm. I mean, it's like being on a football team. You prospect for a position, you practice for a position, and that's where the coach keeps you, that position. And you'll get really good at it. You can get good enough at it, they'll give you $1 million a year. So pick a niche and start there and work your way up.
Hey, John, I just had a thought too, maybe a little tiny teaching moment across the board here. And I know family dynamics are different, but you know, in a cup, I assume do you have some of your money in a Roth IRA, you personally now?
Not yet, but I will be.
Gotcha. Okay. So when you do that, you know, maybe around Thanksgiving when you're with your brother and you just happen to mention your Roth IRAs of about, 47% for the year, you mention it in passing as you're passing him the potatoes.
Yep, that's exactly.
I don't think in any way, shape, or form that thing's a dead deal at all.
Mm-mm.
Oh, it's not a dead deal. It's just, I sorted and I knew to walk away.
Yep.
Because I can't tell somebody who likes pickles and relish that they should be putting ketchup on their hot dog.
Robert, talk about that for just a minute. And I think you said something really powerful, John. Knowing to walk away, but not give up.
Yeah.
Okay, because
this
your
whole
brother.
This whole thing is timing. In other words, a lot of the time, it's not they're saying no, it's right now. I'm saying no, I can't.
Right.
I'm in that very position. I'm going on a long trip coming up in 3 weeks, and I'm painfully aware of how much I have to do to get. So if somebody calls me up and prospected me right now, I'm a lousy prospect. I'm actually a pretty good one, but not right now.
Yep.
Okay. So you don't know what's going on in their life necessarily. The phraseology that always will help bridge that gap is you may or may not be interested, or you may not be interested right now. But what I don't want to have happen is you call me back in 6 months and say, how come you didn't tell me?
I love that
one. That one just gets them to go, whoa, that's a fun one. I said, come tomorrow. I can't tell you. Okay. But if you can get that out every time, you notice you want to get that quickly out, not make it too long before you get out I've got this way of increasing the Roth. And again, it may or may not be for you, just like that. It's got to be quick. You've got to practice it to make it quick. So it's conversational in your conversational tone. Okay. In other words, don't use Robert's tone, use yours. So it doesn't sound weird coming from you. You got to, if I go, hey, yo, Clint, Robert, I got to use that. I can't say, Robert, Clint, this is Robert, and I have some new sophisticated things to tell you about. This doesn't work, right? It's going to be weird. Guys, this is a follow-on thing that you can get. You can get this book from Eric Worre on Amazon. You can get the actual book. You can get a Kindle version of it. One of my favorites is to get the book itself or the Kindle, but then also get the audio. You can get an Audible on this book. This is chock full of hugely powerful information that's timeless. Okay, you can listen to it on your phone with Audible while you're out exercising or Drive Time University, and away you go.
I will second the motion. I have a book, one of his books, and I have highlighted all the things that are standout comments. Do this, don't do that. Mm-hmm. A few even phrases. I mean, it is an absolute must-have book.
Yeah.
You're talking to a professional person there that's put in 20 plus years working the industry, and he's encyclopedized it all together.
That's
actually well more than 30 in his case. I was studying with Eric in 1995, and he was already a stud. I mean, he's been a badass for a long time, and he now has these great big events. I've never been to one of his events recent, and I want to change that. But this guy really is good. He's been good for literally July 5th, 1995 is when I started studying with Eric.
But he started at the bottom and worked up. Wasn't gifted this skill.
No. Everything that he learned the hard way. Same here. I took copious notes and went out and got lots of battle scars, which is how I got the plaques. It works. But you got to work at it. You got to work at the skill. You got to be constantly in the game and working at the skill and developing it. Yeah, so guys, I'm gonna wrap up the video with this note. And then we can get into I just want to have a point of finality on the video. This is a training I'm going to do. I've decided I'm not going to do it as a follow-on training on Thursdays because it cuts our previous webinar short too much. And I try to learn from my mistakes, and that's one of them. So I'm not sure what time we're going to be doing this or how regularly, but we are going to do this relatively regularly because I think it's helpful for people to get this information and then, rinse and repeat. This is something that if you employ these processes, you can employ it over the phone, you can employ it in person, you can employ it via text, you can employ it in email. The more direct it is, the more conversational it is, meaning either voice conversation or in person is the best. Okay. It diminishes in direct relationship. Email would be the least effective because you don't have the means of having the interaction. The interaction is what makes this powerful. Okay. And so the main thing is keep it simple. Don't try to do any presentation. The more you do, the worse it is. When you're brand new and you get that first bite where they go, "Ooh, yeah, I'm interested." And then the new rep, the new affiliate just goes, "Okay, I'm going to tell you about how the backflip modulator works and everything really." And they just go nuts because it's like, okay, you've got somebody that responded. Don't jump at that temptation. Be the professional, get them to the presentation so they can see the whole thing properly. That's what this is about. So practice it, get it. A good idea is to write it down, just a simple phraseology in your own words, show, time, 45 minutes, may or may not be interested. Figure out how to write that down in language that sounds conversational from you with your crew, and then go out and try it out and get people to events, get your people and others that you're talking to come to training. That's the measure of whether it's, or not training, but to presentations. That's the measure of whether it's working or not. You get more butts in the seats, it's working. So with that, I want to bring the contacting and inviting to a close. I appreciate everybody coming today.